Good morning. Today I was planning on coming out to a waterfall area kind of close to my house. I brought my drone. I was going to try to get a different take. There's a specific photograph that I was looking for that I was maybe going to try to get with the drone. But when I got out here, the water level is ridiculously low. I mean, you can see right in here, that white band. That's way, way low. It should be much, much higher, and it should be pumping along pretty good. All of this down here that's dry should be covered. You can see that there's a little pond there that should be full. Water coming across the top of that, over into this pool and all the way around, and it goes out that way. But it's just not at a level that would even make even an okay photograph. And I'm looking at the falls back there, and the falls themselves were not ever that remarkable. They're okay, but there's really nothing there. I'm gonna walk over there just to double check and show it to you. So there are the falls, and it's pretty low. I mean, normally it's falling all the way across here. All of that's coming falls around here. This whole bowl is full, so always have a backup plan. And I don't know if my backup plan is going to be any better. It's late in the summer, and so the water flow for all the falls is just going to be a lot less than they are obviously in the spring when you got all the snow melt. But there's one other place I want to check, and hopefully I'll be able to pull something off there. I've got a composition framed up. I'm not like super in love with it, but it's a start, and you've got to start somewhere. So rocks in my foreground and in the lower left, and then the falls in the back. The brightest spot is up at the top, and that's not sky, that's actually some forest back there. And as long as I don't totally blow it out, I'll be able to bring back enough of the highlights so that the eye will go through the frame and then up to the top of the waterfall. Where the sun is, there's nothing I can do about this glare. I've got a polarizer on, and polarizers can only do so much, and it's doing its best. So it's a pretty waterfall. This is not going to be a portfolio piece, but I really think it's important as a photographer to get out and practice your craft. Go out even when you don't want to, and I didn't want to this morning. Get up early, even when you didn't want to, and I didn't want to this morning. And drive in the dark, I didn't want to, but I did it anyway. And knowing that I've been here before, and it's this is about what I expected, but I was like, I'm gonna try something different. I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna just relax and have a good morning of photography. And I got all the time in the world. The sun is hopefully gonna stay behind these trees, and I can kind of relax and just play with the composition and hopefully teach you guys my thought process and a few things along the way. The rocks in my foreground right there are dry. I took a couple shots, and I'm gonna go ahead and wet them, just splash water on them and it'll darken them up, and I think it'll look a lot better than those dry rocks. It'll saturate those colors in the rock a little bit when they're wet. So I'm going to splash them, and I'm going to take the shot. So I wet the rocks. I don't know actually if I'm going to like it better, simply because when they were dry, they kind of stood out, and they blend in a lot with the water and the surrounding area now that they're really, really wet. So I don't know. I will show you both if they come out, and then you can let me know in the comments below which one you think might work a little bit better. Again, the waterfall is a little underwhelming because of the time of year that we're in, the end of summer. But the nice thing is I'm able to wade out into the river and not get washed away because it's not that much water flow. So I'm gonna keep looking. I'm gonna find some other stuff, and then I'll share it with you when I do. So I decided to do some drones photography instead of just video. But the problem that I have is that I ordered some neutral density filters for the drone, but they haven't come in yet. So I'm not, it's a 1.7 aperture. It's a fixed aperture on the drone. It's just the Mavic 3 Mini Pro, Mini 3 Pro. And I love it because it's small, it's light, it's easy to carry. This smart controller is absolutely off the scale. I don't have to use my phone or an app or anything. It's dedicated. It's a great big screen. It's bright. It's clear. But without those neutral density filters, that water's going to be frozen. I can't adjust the aperture. It's fixed at 1.7. ISO's already at 100, and I'm having to shoot it an 80th of a second, which is going to freeze that water a lot more than I would like. I would really like to be shooting at like a 1/6 of a second. So that's where those neutral density filters are going to come into play, and I get them, they should be here this week. But I wanted just to, again, I'm experimenting, get the drone up and see if there are more opportunities for the next time I come with the drone, being able to see over the top of the falls and get a vantage point that I can't get from down here on the ground. So if any of these drone photos come out, well, even if they don't, I'm going to show them to you anyway, just to show you the quality from the drone. Now, it has a 48 megapixel sensor on it, but you can only use the 48 megapixels when you're shooting single shots. So if I have to bracket or want to bracket, I have to do that manually, which is not a big deal. But you can't do any of the other shooting modes in 48 megapixel except a single shot, if that makes sense. There's other wizardry that the camera can do, panos, right? Automatic panos and all kinds of things. But it can't do it at 48 megapixels. It can only do it at, I think it's 12 for whatever reason. But anyway, I shot at 48 megapixels, and I want to see how well it stacks up just for sharpness, detail, against my Sony A7R IV, which is a 60 megapixel sensor, full frame. This is not a full frame sensor, obviously, on the drone. But we'll compare those, and I think that'll be really, really interesting. I'm back in the office, and this is one of the photos that I took with my drone. 48 megapixels. It's been edited in Lightroom. And let's zoom in and just take a look. I think overall, looking at it you know, to fit to window, I think it looks really, really nice. I like the colors. I like the you know, just the detail. The noise is great. There's no noise. It was ISO 100. Obviously, the water is awful, and that's simply because, like I stated in the video, I just didn't have any neutral density filters. They've come in since I made the video, and I'm going to get it back out and try to see how well they can be stable at those slower shutter speeds. But this was at 80th of a second, and let's zoom in. So this is 100%. Let me make it just a little bit bigger here, and I think the detail and the sharpness is absolutely acceptable. It's not, when it gets into the minutia of the small plants and stuff, it may not be quite as sharp as I would like, enough detail there. But again, I'm pixel peeping at 100% on a 48 megapixel image. I doubt that I would ever print anything from my drone, maybe. But again, I think depending on the size, it would be perfectly acceptable. This is not a bracketed image. It's a single digital negative. This is a raw file. I was able to pull detail out of this, this tree line that was hitting in the sun back in the back. And again, overall, I think it came out really well. Now compare this to, this is the only similar shot that I took with my Sony A7R IV, which is 60 megapixels. And if you will zoom in at 100%, and obviously the sharpness is better, the detail is better than the drone. You go back here on these rocks, and the detail and the sharpness is just definitely, it's better. But notice that the color and the saturation is very, very similar to the drone shot. Let's compare those side by side. And as you look at them, I think that, again, the color and the tonality, everything is very, very, very similar. I am extremely happy with the quality that came from the drone. And for the price point of the DJI Mini 3 Pro compared to the cost of my camera with the lens, I don't expect it to work as well, but it came out outstanding for the price point of the drone. So that's going to wrap up this week's video. I hope you liked it. Hope you got something out of it. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button, and we will see you next time.